Hi everyone. So in today's session we are going to see about how to make data SIM compliant. So in this session we are going to explore Splunk SIM. Why do we need Splunk SIM common information model and how it benefits us for correlating all the data. So here we go. I am Tilakram from BitSayo. So today's session we are going to discuss about Splunk SIM. So what's agenda for today's what is a Splunk common information model? And then the overview of Splunk data sources and how the add-ons assist in this SIM activity and how we are gonna use the Splunk data models and data model acceleration and overviews what a data model does in SIM. And then how we are going to make our data SIM compliance and a walkthrough and hands-on practice lab we'll be doing in this session. So what is SIM? So as SIM says, it's a common information model. So SIM is a common taxonomy. So here we are going to normalize our data to match a common taxonomy from multiple sources or vendors. So in an premium apps, the Splunk SIMs comes as a package as an add-on, and then we can use that to normalize our data. So we'll discuss why SIM is important. It enables cross technology correlation. For example, in a large environment we have many data flowing from different sources, like one is from Amazon Cloudflare, one may be from Fortinet, another from Cisco Meraki, endpoint data, anti data. So we will be getting n number of network related data. So we are going to collect all those data and normalize them and bring it to a common naming system so that we can correlate the results from different sources. So this is where the SIM plays an important role. And then the SIM powers the premium apps like Enterprise Security, ITSI, and other premium apps from Splunk. So it simplifies detection, reporting, and dashboarding across different data sources. And it makes our data plug and play. We can create correlation searches and dashboards for our executive and managements. So, like in a large environment, we have n number of data sources and the respective source type. Here we can see in this diagram, we have Windows Event Log, AWS CloudTrail, CloudWatch, Palo Alto Traffic, Thread Data, Linux Secure, Juniper, Nessus, Office 365, Activity Management, Email. So these data are passed through these add-ons. These add-ons facilitate the Splunk SIM data. It contains the necessary data, that is a tags which will associate with the Splunk common information model, that is a data models. So in next slides we'll be looking on how it does, what is the data model, what data model has, and how we are going to leverage this to attain this normalization of data of SIM. So we are collecting n number of data through n number of sources like on-premise, private cloud, public cloud. So we are having IP address, application, username, host name, and n number of data flowing into our environment. Here in search term, we normalize, we'll do the event types, transformation, we'll enrich the data, and then we are sending it to the data models like endpoint, authentication, traffic. For with these common field names, we will be using these field names to create our reports, dashboards, and correlation searches. So why? So as we discussed, it is a common standard. SIM helps normalize our data to match a common standard from different sources or different vendors. SIM act as a search time schema to allow to define relationship in the event data while leaving the raw machine data intact. So we don't do any changes in the raw data which we save in our indexes. So this is one of the important point. And then normalized data from multiple different sources is used for, as I said earlier, like we used to develop reports, correlation searches, dashboards to present a unified view of our data domain, like how much data we have in our system. We can get a unified picture of network, authentication, web, so which we will be discussing further now. So the SIM is an add-on, is packaged with enterprise security. If you are going to have enterprise security premium app, it comes as an add-on, and it can be downloaded from Splunk base too, which we have provided the link over here. So why sync? So here we can see in a general, if you use the search index equal to star or user equal to star, it will pull n number of sources. So if, as you can see, there is CloudTrail, Stash, Symantec. So here we can see each different sources have a different field name. Like for the user in Cisco, it's username. In Windows event log, it's the case. The field name differs, like the uppercase, lowercase. Like here, you can see the changes in the username. So what we are, with the help of SIM, we are normalizing these many sources data into a single field called user with the help of SIM. So with the help of SIM, we can correlate multiple data sources. That's what we have shown over here. So we have these many source types. So once in this data model authentication search we do, we are able to see these many source types we have collected data from, and we have unified the data from these many sources. So why, what's another point of view? So if we are gonna search from different source type for the username, so like we'll be mentioning the index, we'll mention the each source. As we look, the query is getting complex and it takes over 65 seconds to run to execute this query. So once in an accelerated data model, we can get the same results within zero point 0.6 seconds. So now we understand why Splunk is more important. Sorry, SIM is more important. So now we can achieve this through the help of data models. So what is a data model? So a data model is a hierarchically structured search type mapping of our data, and it can be composed by one or two or data sets. So we can say like a collection of data set is called a data model. And then there's a special feature called data model acceleration. Once we add the respective data into the data models, we can accelerate it so that it creates a summary table with the key value pairs, which enables us to access the data in a very quick manner. So what we'll do is we'll have a look at how data models will be. So we'll go to the home page. We can access data models through multiple ways. One is from the settings. Here we can directly access data model. Here we can see the data models which we have. So each data model, like we have data model for alerts, application state, authentication, certificates, change. So we have different databases based on that need. So let's analyze the data model authentication. So once you click on it, we can able to see the data sets in the authentication. So here, if you see, you can see the authentication data model where we have the tax authentication, the action is success, and user is dollar, and then the fields, the common fields which you are gonna use it. So like if it's a failed authentication, we have its own set of fields: successful, default, failed authentication. So like this is how an data model looks like and the data sets within it. So as we are looking into it, we just had a look into data model. Now we have explored it too. This is one more method of accessing the data models, that is from apps. We'll click on manage apps and then browse will like sim. From here we can click on setup. Here we can see the data models, whether it's accelerated or not. Like if we have the authentication related data in a respective index, we can add that index over here and then the tags, and then it will be saved. So similar here we saw another method from settings. How do we access the data models? Now, if you want to look in the query with the help of SPL also, we can do that. So we'll go to the search and reporting app and then we'll execute the SPL like pipe data model and the respective data model name. So here we are checking for authentication. So here we can see the object names, object summary, and the list of object it has. So this is one another way of looking at the data model. And then this is quite a simple one. Like we are clicking on attributes authentication. Here also you can see. So here we can see the attribute, the lineage, and everything can be seen over here. So now what we will do is we will onboard an CIM complaint data with the help of an FortiGate add-on. So in our place we have the FortiGate app. So now we will be onboarding the data. So first we will monitor the firewall log. So here we'll go to add data, and then we are going to monitor files and directories. So we will browse it. It's in OPT data and syslog. So once we select it, here we have our data, and then we'll click on next. Since I already created one, it's showing as an error. So this is how we will do, and then we'll click on next. So here we'll select the respective. We'll make it big. Here we'll select the respective source type and then the index name, which is firewall. Which have so this is how once we do that, we will have our data. Since I've already ingested, it's available for us. So it should be all time. So here we can select firewall logs. So moving further, now we have ingested the Fortinet travel traffic logs. So here also another way we can search. So duplicate the tab. So here we are. So if you see the data has been, there are total number of 26,354 events, and these are all the data which is available. And see the tags like communicate and network. So what has happened is, so when we go to a network data model, if you see with the help of the tags, it has already fetched the data into the network traffic data model. Now, if you see, we'll go to the settings. So we'll go and check the data models of network traffic. So here is a network traffic data model. Sorry. So you can see the tags network and communicate. So with the help of this, it has already pulled the data into the respective data model with the help of the tags. Now, so now what we need to do is we need to check this macro. We'll go to advanced search. We will search for the macro. So here, clicking on it. So we're adding the index. So, saving it. So now we have find the macro from the data model, and then we have updated the data model. So now we need to accelerate it. Edit acceleration. Clicking on accelerate, and then we're clicking on save. So now this data model is accelerated. So now we will see, if you're gonna check for the count of the events which are in the fire index firewall. So first we'll execute this. We're just checking for count. So it will give the value this 26,334. And then we'll execute another search with the help of data model. So it will give us the same results, the count of the events. So why we are doing this is we are just going to find out the difference, how faster the query executes. So we can find how efficient the common information model works. When it comes to a large data in a large environment, this will be very helpful. So the final query with help of summarize only is true. So once we accelerated the data, okay, so now where the data model is accelerated. So yeah, it is. Now we will see, we'll inspect the job. So it will show like in how many seconds the query has executed. So it took 0.773 seconds. This one took 0.84, 0.993. You see, like very fast, like 0.08 seconds. So when it comes to a large environment, this will prove very effective because we will be dealing with terabytes and petabytes of data. So just for a few number of queries, we can see a huge difference from 1 second to 0.08 seconds. That's how efficient the SIM is. So how do we now we have our data. Now we need to check whether the data we have is SIM compliance or not. So how do we do that? First, we will get the right SIM field and the values, and we'll create an event type, and then we will do our tagging store event types. So the first scenario is I have a data, but the SIM field and the my field is quite different. So in that case, what I will be doing is I'll be creating a field alias for my field name as user. So now once I do that, this field is SIM compliant now. So similarly, another events. I don't have this field in my events, but I need it. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna use a calculated field settings in field. So here we'll do the evaluation, the expression for our field, which will create a value and it will be saved in the vendor product. So another option is I have a field value, I have values in my data, but this is not present in the SIM. So here, as you can see here is a values in data is successful authentication, wrong password, locked password. But in SIM prescribed values is success, failure, and failure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a lookup for my results, which is successful authentication as success, wrong password and locked password as failure, and then I'll create a lookup. So once I do that, I have made my data SIM compliant so that whenever I execute a query, I will get the results from the lookup and then it will be overridden. So if the result is equals, the action will be success. The result is will be stayed as an action. So now what we'll do is we'll onboard some custom data and then how we are going to map that to an authentication data model. So now first we'll create a custom app. So we need an with the help of add-on builder, we are going to do that. So first we'll go here. To a home page and then we'll be clicking our apps and then I'm clicking on the add-on builder. So I'm creating a new add-on. So I'm naming the add-on as will you can give us any name, like since it's badge data, I'm giving badges and making it visible and then I'm clicking on create. So now we need to add the badge data. So similarly what we'll do is from the home, so an app is badges is created. Now we will add the data. We click on monitor. So files and directory, we are going to browse it from OPT data and then badge log. We are going to select it. We're going to click on index once, and then so we did this step. When you click on index once, and then we are clicking on next. So now if you see, the events are not passed properly. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use the Splunk Magic 8 properties to pass our data properly, which I have already done here. So what we are going to do is even beginning failed because we need to set our prompts.conf here. So now we'll do the changes. I'm removing the star set and then no binary check. Line merge should be always false. Now moving on to the next. Once I do that, I'll apply settings. Now it has creating the values. But this is the date and time field which you need to capture, not this is a system created one. So for that, we'll be defining our, so now we will give our props.conf values for time prefix, timestamp, advance here, the time prefix, we are mentioning it. And then we are mentioning our time format. And then okay, I missed a forward slash. So that's causing an issue. So now we got our time value fixed, and then we'll click on next. So now we need to give the source type name. So we need to create the source type badges. Name is, we'll give badges, and then we will save it. So now we need to select it, and we are review, submit. So now we have the data indexed to us. Here we can see the respective fields. Now we will move on. So now we have searched it where we can see our values. Index equal to badge, and the source type is badges, which you have mentioned. And then we are moving further. Now we are going to create a report with the help of badge data. So what you are going to do is here apps. So here we have an authentication dashboard, and then we are selecting the index. Then we are clicking submit, but we are not able to see any values. Why we are not able to see any values? Because we need to explore what's the reason behind it. So when we open one of the panels, we can see we are utilizing the data model authentication, but we have not enabled the data model, or we didn't add the index data to the authentication. So now we are gonna map our custom data to the authentication data model. So we have done this, nothing is displayed. So we check the query. Now with the help of our add-on builder app, we are gonna solve this problem. So now what we are gonna do is we will go to our Splunk add-on builder app. Here, this is our app which I've created. So here we can see now we will be extracting the fields, assisted extraction in a table format. We'll select the table and we'll click on submit. Now we can see our source type and the data we have ingested. Now since we analyze the data, here we can see it's a comma separated value. So what we are going to do is here we are going to click comma. Now here we have three fields, field 1, field 2 and field 3. The field 1 value is the user, as you can see the names. And then this one is network browser, boardroom. These are all the locations, the doors. And these are all the results like badge type not allowed, badge accepted. So these are the results. Now we have done that. Now we are going to edit the field name to user, door and result. So now we are going to do the changes. So the field 1 as user, field 2 as door and field 3 as result. So, and then we are saving our, sorry, it's, yes, it's result. And then click on save. Continue. Now we have done our changes. Now if we go and check on the search, we can see door. These are the 5 values we have, and then result. So badge accepted, badge not allowed, and then the user. How many users we have? Bob, Buttercup, and guest users. So now we can see we have created the necessary fields. So this way is another way of checking the fields like index, and then we are giving this with the help of stats. We can check the values too. Now what we'll do is we need to map the data to the data model. So which will be doing it via the app. So here we can see we'll click on new data model mapping. You see. So we'll badges underscore data. Sorry. Badges. And the source type badges is clear. So now we are clicking on save. Now here we can see the results. Now we will be creating knowledge objects for the data model. So now we need to select to which data model we are gonna map these fields. So here we'll be selecting our data models. So since we are gonna add it to the authentication, I'm clicking on authentication, and then we'll click on select. So now we have the fields, respective fields available in the data model authentication, and now we are going to map our fields to the data model fields. So first what we are going to do is we'll be selecting the field aliases for the badge data. So the source type is mentioned. So for which field we are going to create a, we're going to map it. So first we are going to click on do. So we'll once we click on do, it will appear over here. So which data model field is going to map? This is going to map to destination. So now we will click on the field destination and then click on OK. So similarly, we can create all the data. We can associate it. Now we are gonna create an eval one for results. So what we are gonna eval is the. So now what we are gonna do is we are gonna enter this expression. So we have three values for the result: badge, accepted, success, and failure. So if these values are present, we are gonna map it to the field action. So we are clicking on OK. So now we have created a field alias for one of the field and then look up for. So now we have done the mapping for the authentication data model. Now what we will do is we will complete, click on done. So we have done the necessary changes. So now what we are going to do is we'll be going to our authentication app, select and click on submit. So now as you can see, once we added our custom data to the data model, now with the queries are picking up the data from the data models and we are able to see the results here in the dashboard. So like top successful authentication, top failed authentications. So it gives the results for us, failure and success. So this is how we will utilize our data models for dashboard creation in the premium apps. So now once then we get, so we have come to the end of our session. Here what we learned is we learned what CIM is and we saw how to set up CIM, and then we are able to find and create content based on the need we have. So